The bottom jaw of Marcus Leway, reported missing April 23, 2022, had been discovered in a shallow creek in the Conecuh National Forest. Forensic investigators were able to determine that the bottom jaw had been gnawed in half by a coyote. His torso had been discovered 2 miles away from the location of his jaw, and in his breast pocket was a sealed tape containing his last words. My name is Michael, and I am your host in this Lost Tapes episode, and I hope that you enjoy this prelude for the Church of Syn. It's me, Marcus. Okay, so, I had been hearing a lot about the gray ghosts from the Church of Syn. You know, people wearing dark gray robes or cloaks or whatever. It's been rumored that these people have been responsible for the disappearances in these here swamps, but I kind of wanted to check this out for myself. I told my sister that I'd be heading off and that if she hadn't heard from me by the 22nd, then to go ahead and report me missing on the 23rd. I brought my cell phone, hiking gear, and plenty of stuff to protect myself with. Not because I believe the gray ghosts from the Church of Syn are real, but because I know that bobcats, coyotes, and alligators are real. See, I had this theory that these people who keep turning up missing are dying because of the wildlife in the swamp, you know? And they're just not paying attention, and because of that, a gator can sneak up on them, or a venomous snake, or a bobcat, or a coyote, and then that's where the story ends, right? Well, anyway, I had heard from the previous Lost Tapes that there's a manor out here in the Conecuh Forest. I laid out a map of the forest and have come up with 4 locations the manor is likely to be. It's in a swampy part of the forest, that I know for sure. People are typically discovered pretty far south, about near the Florida border, and well, I marked out a few locations that were opposite of where they were found and went on to investigate them. Since bodies keep being discovered down south, I figured the manor may be in the northern part of the forest. It makes sense that these people, if they exist, would plant these people as far away from themselves as possible. Factor in wildlife taking the remains of these people and scattering them about, and then, well, there you go. It's the perfect crime. Well, I've been in this forest for about 4 days, and I didn't find a manor, but I found a few bear traps. I triangulated the direction of the bear traps by walking parallel to them and kept a tree branch nearby. I poked at every trap I saw, and I hiked for about 4 hours in what seemed to be a random direction. After a long while, the sun began to set, and then I saw the glow of the manor. It was lit up by torches. I didn't see anyone milling about, so I approached it. And then I saw them, and they saw me. Marcus's sister, Lynette, reported her brother missing on the morning of April 23, 2022, and gave a detailed account of where her brother started his excursion, and where he was likely to be, and where he could possibly be discovered. Lead detective Andrew Bennett took on the case, as he had taken on several other missing persons cases similar to this one, and reviewed a report Marcus had left behind. In his 6-page report, he laid out his mission, which was to find the manor, his means of self-defense, and his tracker ID that could then be used in the TrackMe GPS tracking app. Detective Bennett plugged in his tracker ID number and found that the GPS still pinged near the southern western edge of the Conecuh Forest. The report also provided a list of items he brought along with him, which included a Glock 43, 2 cans of Bearre mace, a 6-inch hunting knife, night vision goggles, and a water bottle with a built-in filtration system so as to make any collected water drinkable. As for Lynette was concerned, she figured her brother's phone died as he didn't pack a spare battery for it or a power bank, and surmised that her brother had become lost, then eaten by wildlife. Though tragic, she knew there was no stopping him from entering the forest. After investigating the location in which the GPS tracker pinged, Detective Bennett discovered the small tracker, and attached to it was a small hook and Marcus's pants loop. Upon further investigation, Detective Bennett deduced that at some point, Marcus had gotten caught on a tree and the tracker in question and the hook it was connected to were ripped from his pants. When asked if Marcus wore pants that could have been old, therefore compromised, Lynette agreed that Marcus wasn't the type to buy new clothing very often. Because of this, Detective Bennett drew the conclusion that Marcus likely got caught on a tree and the tracker was ripped from his pants, and he did not know. Unfortunately, the case didn't go any farther than that. I slunk back into the forest, and a few of those cultists, they saw me. So, for the record, I am looking at these people. They do wear the dark gray robes or cloaks or whatever that I've heard about. The manor, it is real, and I am looking at it. I tried to look at my GPS locator, but the dang thing ripped off my pants. I didn't even know. I wanted to grab my phone and call somebody, but for right now I need to get away because they saw me, but at the same time I'm a little bit conflicted because I want to investigate the manor, but for right now I need to stay low and I need to be quiet. But as for the manor, all I can think about is going inside. I'm thirsty, hungry, and curious. I knelt down and scurried through the bushes and away from them. At some point, I found myself around the back side of the house, and for the most part, I think I escaped the cultists. I studied them. They're standing outside holding torches. They're piling out of the manor, and now, for some reason, they're walking in a single file line to somewhere I can't quite see. I moved again and followed their glowing torches, and then I saw something in the distance. I think a chapel, and they're walking to it, all of them. I glanced at the manor, and now no one was inside. No one at all. I stood around for a little bit, and then it was quiet. Everyone had entered the chapel. If there was ever a good time to explore that house, well, it's now. I emerged from the forest and sprinted for the back door. Detective Bennett and a survey team of 13 other people combed a 5-mile radius around the location of the GPS tracker. Not a clue had been discovered, nor had there been any indication of Marcus trailblazing through the forest. From what they could tell, Marcus solely relied on GPS technology to navigate Conecuh Forest and failed to mark any trees or any other indicators to signify the direction in which he was moving. Due to the vast size of Conecuh Forest, Detective Bennett moved to close the case of Marcus Leway as swiftly as possible, as he had concluded that Marcus had gotten lost in the forest once his GPS tracker was removed, and because of that, there was no hope of finding what remained of him or figuring out what happened to him. Lynette filed a complaint, claiming that Detective Bennett was not taking the missing persons case regarding her brother seriously, and that he was half-heartedly searching for him. Bennett did not respond to her complaint and began investigating another missing persons case. Though he did not say it, he and his colleagues had become more tired of people foraying into the forest to catch a glimpse of the elusive Church of Syn, and had adopted the following attitude. You idiots know that people go into that forest and end up disappearing. Why are you morons going in there when you know there's half a dozen things that could kill you? If there is a cult of people hunting people in that forest, why would you go in there looking for them? You think this cult of cannibals is just going to say hello and sit down and have lunch with you? You can protect people from external threats, but when the threat to one's safety is their own stupidity, then that's where we draw the line. You cannot protect stupid people from themselves. I approached the back door and I peeked right inside. I didn't see anyone. From where I was, I could see the chapel about 50 feet away from here and a dirt path which led directly to it. I have to give these cultists credit though. They created a pretty awesome path lit by torches. Gives the pathway to the chapel an eerie, gonna get butchered kind of vibe, you know? Anyway, I entered the manor and it was actually surprisingly nice in there. Aside from the paint on the walls chipping and the cobwebs and the fact this place really reeked of mold, it was actually pretty nice. Had an old Victorian kind of feel to it, you know? I scanned the entryway, which had a few couches laid out, a large coffee table, and a fireplace. There was a small book sitting on the coffee table. I picked it up and scanned it. Turns out it's called the Bible of Syn. Syn, as in spelled S-Y-N, not S-I-N, which is interesting because I thought it was S-I-N, but how would anybody actually ever know until now? But anyways, I digress. And I actually found out that the word sin is actually a truncated form of the name Sinclair. Didn't have much time to read what the name Sinclair is all about, but while I was here, I walked down a long hall which had lots of paintings on it. A lot of old men painted. Didn't see any women. Quite a few of these paintings seemed really old, yellow with age, and dusty. Very, very dusty. At some point, I entered the kitchen, undid my water bottle. I turned on the faucet, and the water which came out, it smelled, it smelled earthy, and a few slivers of green algae burst out at first. I ran the water for a good minute and waited until the water was clear before I filled my water bottle. This place, so far away from everything, probably depends on well water. So, yeah, that makes sense. I drank the water, and it didn't taste bad. Didn't taste great either. It just tasted like how one would expect well water to taste, I guess. I don't even know why I'm mentioning this. But I realized, as I stood there finishing my glass of water, that the cultists began to file back into the house. I quickly scanned the house and ran out of the front door and made my retreat into the forest. I studied them, watched them, and noted that they had spent maybe about 10 minutes in the chapel before returning. Perhaps they performed like maybe a short ritual, or maybe they did something else, I don't know. But from what I can tell, though, no one saw me. I don't feel afraid of these people, and honestly, they're just going on about their business, and they seem alright. I haven't seen anything to validate the stories that I've heard, so I don't even know if those things that have been said about these guys is true. I wonder if maybe these people are just getting blamed for the misfortunes of others, but either way, I don't know. I looked at my phone and I noticed I had no service. Of course I don't have service. Why would I? I'm in the middle of a freaking forest. Anyway, I'll cut this recording here and return later. Hey, so I walked westward away from the manor, and I must have caught a bug or something because I woke up this morning with the flu. Like I've had the fever, I had the chills last night, and now in this weird sort of way, it feels like the world is kind of wobbling. I wish I would have filled up my water bottle with more water, but I'd rather drink the well water than drink this creek water. I know, it's going to be filtered water either way, but the taste, ugh. Anyway, I coughed blood into my hand this morning, and, that seems strange, but, anyway, I think I'll try and get up and get moving soon enough, but my legs, they feel like noodles, and I can't even really walk that much, and they feel tingly, kind of like I'm losing feeling in them. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just the flu, but I don't know. I mean, my hands and fingers, they feel tingly too, and I've noticed it's getting harder to squeeze my fist, but either way, I probably just have the flu, and it's just, maybe it's a new strain, I don't know. But either way, I'll be home soon. I just have to fight this thing off, which, might take a day. But that's okay, I brought enough supplies, so I'll be alright. Lynette held a small memorial for Marcus once he was pronounced dead on April 26, 2022. Though she felt Detective Bennett should have done a better job before declaring her brother dead, she knew that deep down there wasn't anything else that could be done. She didn't know how to feel about her brother finding the Church of Syn. The conspiracy theorists online, Marcus's tape served as the most detailed account of the manor, while those who were more sensible viewed the tape as one more entry to add to the mythology of the Church of Syn. Detective Bennett resigned as an investigator and took up a job as a janitor. The last remark he made as he was cleaning out his office was, "Stupid people do stupid things, and then stupid things happen to them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't stop it from drowning."